Grand Rising family. I am at Winnicane. I'm sure it's pronounced differently by the locals. But I am discovering this is a gem, and this is going to be a bit of a personal story. I was guided to go to the place where my great-great-grandfather was born in 1810. His name is Kingsley Blood. And he was born in this town called Vinland, Wisconsin. Well, it's interesting because it's really hard to find this town on the map. That's how, well known this place is. And it is a crossroads. It's kind of exciting. But it's anyhow, so I am at this lake, and I'm going to probably take some pictures later because I learned there is an archaeological site dig that is close to here. And I'm sorry if you hear the beeping noise. Obviously someone doesn't want me doing this video right now. But anyhow, this is the land that my ancestors come from. And I'll just give you a little bit of the story as I understand it because it relates to what's going on today. So as I mentioned, my ancestor Kingsley Blood was born in 1810. And 1811, there was a massive earthquake in New Madrid, Missouri. Well, that's a few miles south of here. You know, you take the Mississippi or the Missouri or the Ohio River, and they all conjoin and have to go through this little, I'd call it an appendix. It's a little loop that goes like this, kind of goes north for just a smidge and then circles back around, and it keeps on, the Mississippi River keeps on heading south. Well, New Madrid is also like a point of a earthquake where the plates come together. There was a 7.0 earthquake in December 1811. It was such a strong earthquake, the church bells in Boston rang. And they felt it all the way in Washington, D.C. That's pretty impressive. It was also where I understood when I visited there about a month or so ago that my great-great-great-grandmother, so Kingsley's mother, had been used as part of a SRA or a spiritual ritual sacrifice. And it was due to that ended up causing that to happen. I find that so very, very fascinating. Well, I'm told that Kingsley was then adopted into the family, and, well, being the black sheep of the family, certainly not his father, by the way, was a strong Mason, and I went to the local cemetery and I saw the gravestone of his mother, not the real mother, but the one who raised him. And I also saw some other bloods also in the cemetery, but I need to go and find out where exactly the father, his gravestone is. I'm curious to see where that is because I couldn't find it yesterday. So I'm going to stop by the local town and see if I can get any more family secrets. But regardless, I came here, and as soon as I arrived here, I had a sense of I am seeing a place someone has not seen in a long time. This is home for someone in my ancestry, and very bittersweet, very, very bittersweet. But regardless, it speaks to a time in the early 1800s. And I look back at my family on my father's side, not just my father's side, but my mother's, grandmother's, Kingsley's father's side. I'll put it that way, okay? I feel great, smack. 5 generations, right? His ancestry goes all the way back to John Smith. In 1639, he was one of the Puritans that came across from England into Massachusetts. So this is going back to before the United States became the United States. It comes to a time before the Vatican even went up the Mississippi River and called it the Concepcion Immaculata Concepcion, the Immaculate Conception. That was in 1666. So this goes back. This is my family history. This goes back in time. And this tells me that this is the New Jerusalem. Notice in the name Jerusalem, there's USA in the middle of it. United States for America. So to be here, as you can hear, maybe the lapping of the waters against the rocks here. And by the way, I just wanted to show you how high the water is up here. And we have ice out. It's a big thing out here. I don't know if ice out has ever happened as early as March 10th. Usually happens later in the month, even all the way into April. So to have this happen so early in the season, and we've had some phenomenally beautiful days, which of course means there's a lot of snow melting, and that's all going to come downstream. And there's a situation with that too. I might get into that on video, I don't know. But right now you're catching me at a moment where I am getting a sense of not just who I am from my mother's side of the family, which that's really what ancestry is your mother's side. That's the only side you can ever prove yourself is your mother's side. And so to come here and to go, this is my mother's side of the family. And the story that is not told but is told in the family, and the one that's spoken but not written, is that Kingsley was adopted into the family at the age of 2 because, well, his father died in due to a scalping encounter. We'll call it that. When in fact, that may or may not be the case. In fact, it may be that his mother was brought into the household probably as a servant, as a maid, or as a ritual. One of the things I'm learning about the Masonics is that they will pick the most beautiful women, and then they will have a child by them. It's important that they have a child by them. And then the mother, at about a year later, is sacrificed, a blood sacrifice. They are, their destiny is swapped. What they call a destiny swapping. And it gives energy and power to those who acquire or do that ritual. So for the men, it gives them stature, finances. Let me tell you, this place down here is very affluent. It gives good health. It gives prosperity. It creates energy. It creates currency. But not always in money, in energy. And with that, the wind is coming up. So I'm obviously speaking something. And so that kind of mirrors the situation I had with my own mother. My own mother had me, and turns out I was conceived through a ritual sacrifice. And when I was 10 months old, my mother was removed from my life and placed into a mental institution for the rest of her life. She had her surgery to make her better, and she ended up having shock therapy that ended up actually frying her brain. So she was never able to function or remember anything after that. Because, if word got out who my real father was, well, that wasn't good. And to keep everyone else in the family silent and quiet, it's such a shame on the family name. Check that out for some rhyming, huh? To have someone who has mental illness like that in their family, to be called schizophrenic. When it wasn't schizophrenia, it was either mental magic or other spell work, and then physically having your brain fried through shock therapy. But I had a chance to go back and visit my mother when when I was 25, and got a chance to get to know her a little bit and get a sense of who she was. And she was the most beautiful, kind-hearted, loving soul. So I know that's where I get that from. So thank you, Mama. Anyhow, it is fascinating to be here, to see this land for the very first time, to see the nature, the geese, the ducks, the waters, knowing that there is an archaeological dig site just a couple blocks away. I'm going to try to check it out later and then go find some cemetery stones so I can go, okay, yeah, this is really where they were. They really were here. And to try to piece together, what is the real story? What is the real ancestry? Not his story, but ancestry of this country. Because there is a storyline of where the Native community and the Masons intersected. And it goes back a few generations. And it's been a purposeful action by, well, society and government and communities and families, whether it's the shame of the name or it's to bury. What does it mean to be an American? What does it mean? Does it mean we get to bring back the First Nations, the indigenous, the original people? To stand for what they believed in, whether it's the love of the water, the love of the animals, the love of the nature, the love of the sky, back to source. Not necessarily religion, but the source, the Holy Spirit. As you notice, the wind's blowing up again, so got a little bit of Holy Spirit going on right now. And to bring that back into what does it mean to be an American? But also, what does it mean to be a patriot? You know, we think of patriotism, we think of freedom, we think of liberty, to be free from the shackles of slavery, to be free to think and to do and to dream, to have that American way of life. The thing that stands out as kind of like a little like, are you guys kidding me, from other people around the world, to being a sense of individual strength that stands in the face of groupthink, in the face of the matrix. I'm just looking at this land here. I mean, it's beautiful, it's serene, it's quiet. It's a blessing. And our country is going to return to that. It's the new heaven and the new earth. I haven't really talked about that phrase much, and we'll be going into that probably more in the coming weeks as I continue on in my journey. Like I said, right now I was called to go around the Great Lakes. I was called to go and bless the waters specifically. And here I am at Winnicane, which is off of Green Bay, which is off of Lake Michigan. And so it's where Wisconsin gets that little thumb that it has, right? So this is like the secret, I won't even say secret, the private, the inside scoop location, right? The place where they would have had their princess. They would have had their queen. They would have had their spiritual leader would be kept safe, kept hidden, and yet given the best that nature could provide. I'm in that space, I'm in that town, I'm in that place right now, knowing that this is the heart of the First Nation community, at least for the woodlands of the Sioux, or the probably even the ancestrally, we'd even call it the Cherokee. Although many people think of Cherokee and they think of the Cherokee that lived in the South, in North Carolina and South Carolina and Tennessee and Georgia. But there was a northern tribe of the Cherokee, which became the Sioux, the Lakota, Dakota, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Woodland Indians, or the Plains Indians. Back to Kensington Runestone in 1362, where they introduced a white woman into the community. And that's what the Kensington Runestone, the Ave Virgina Maria, the AVM that's actually referenced on the runestone. Why is there 3 Latin letters on a stone that's written in rune? The Holy Grail had to be hidden. And it's here. It's here. And the fact that they have an archaeological site indicates that there's something important buried here. So it's with this, I'm going to wrap this message up. I might do another video later, depending on if I get some really interesting information. But I just wanted to introduce you to a place where my ancestry goes back to. And I'm so blessed that I have this. I'm blessed I was drawn to come here and to speak to whatever message is being given to me. So I'm going to do a blessing here. Anashinanai kana alatiti ashatata nana ashana la kapata ashanana ho hoya kapata ashana kapata. Ashinina kapatitita oh ya Ashinina oh ninyana katapata what are the chances? I can't make that up. What are the chances that an airplane goes right in front of me? Oh, thanks for the interruption. Welcome to, this is what I call spiritual warfare. Yes, we are protected from that. I don't know why that makes me laugh, but it makes me laugh at this point in time. There's really nothing else I can do but laugh and release, give it back to the universe. So that family, I'm going to let it end on that note. And like I said, if anything else comes to me, I'll do another video. Love, joy, peace, and harmony.